I can guarantee you this one won't be a drag. It never is when these two rivals get together as the Duke Blue Devils move 8 miles down the road to take on the number 2 ranked North Carolina Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. And to take a look at the current projected field of 64 top 8 seeds from D1Baseball.com, there you see Carolina and Scott Forbes' team currently expected to be the number 4 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. They are anxiously waiting for Selection Monday. And we welcome you inside our broadcast booth here at Bosworth Stadium on the campus of the University of North Carolina with Gabby Sanchez. I'm Mike Farron. Okay, this is weird. Duke and UNC are playing. They're conference rivals. This is a non-conference game.
What's also weird is that this is the first game of the weekend for each one of these two teams. So you've got a lot of things going on, but of course, exam week, not able to play. But both of these coaches at least wanted to get the pitchers out and their players so they wouldn't have too long of a time without playing baseball.
Yeah, and one of the benefits is that you're going to get to see most of the star pitchers for North Carolina. It's one of the best pitching staffs in the country, and they are led by their ace. The junior Jason DeCaro has been in the rotation for 3 years and is coming off one of his best starts ever.
Yeah, he is. Going 7 2/3, especially against this Duke team. Going to be able to see them again. But when you look at DeCaro and what he's able to do, remember, he came in as a freshman, as a 17-year-old kid. Well, guess what? He is now 20 years old. So he is a 20-year-old on the mound. He has been a frontline starter for this UNC team every single year. He's been a Friday night guy ever since his freshman year as well.
Peter Lemke is going to make the start for Duke, and the right-hander, the transfer from Denison, a Division III school, was terrific last Friday against Carolina.
Yeah, I would guess that you could probably say that both of these guys probably had their best games against these same teams that he's going up against. What Peter Lemke was able to do against this UNC lineup, who was one of the better lineups in the nation, only allowing 5 hits and 1 earned run, got the win in that ball game. He was really good attacking the UNC lineup.
Let's take a look at Duke's lineup for today, and you're going to see R.J. Hamilton highlighted here as the season has gone on. The Vanderbilt transfer has gotten better and better this year.
You look at what Hamilton has been able to do this season, a 329 average. There is some home run ability with 5 home runs on the season. Just a really good hitter in the top of this lineup for the Duke Blue Devils.
A non-conference affair between Carolina and Duke as Jake Lambden stands in. The shortstop waits, so the first pitch of the ball game is outside from Jason DeCaro. It is 1-0. Lambden, the transfer from Xavier, moved into the leadoff spot here for the Duke Blue Devils. Here comes the 1-0 from DeCaro. Foul back, count 1-1. And this is a non-conference game between these two teams. This happens occasionally. It will not count towards the ACC conference standings. You see the records of both of those teams in conference play in parentheses on the screen. But in the eyes of the committee, it counts as a conference game. We know that that happened earlier this year with Wake Forest and Clemson playing in Charlotte because they weren't scheduled to play each other. Next year, Miami and Florida State are going to meet in Tampa. So that's part of the mega conferences now, is that you don't always face your rivals, or you may need to, in this case, schedule some local games when it's exam week. And I'm sure that these are a couple of mentally exhausted teams from taking tests. I'm mentally exhausted thinking about what finals week at Duke must be like.
I didn't have to worry about finals week.
Is it because you went pro? 3-1. Outside, ball 4, a leadoff walk for Jake Lambden.
That's something that you don't really see out of DeCaro all that much. He's usually a guy that really attacks the zone with his 4 pitches. It's a fastball, slider, curveball. He does throw a changeup. He will mix and match each and every single one of those pitches. Against righties, he's mostly a fastball slider pitcher. Against lefties, mostly fastball changeup with the occasional curve.
R.J. Hamilton hits. We highlighted him at the outset. Speedy right fielder, transfer from Vanderbilt. Duke will steal a fair amount of bases. It has slowed a bit in ACC play as teams got wise to their base running, but they are one of the top base stealing teams, at least in terms of volume in the country.
Yeah, that's the thing, too, that Corey Muscara, head coach of Duke, kind of instilled in his guys. Hey, we're going to run. And if we're not going to run, the other team is still going to think we're going to run. And what you get is a lot of mistakes thrown across the plate.
Bluff from Lambden and a toss over by DeCaro as Lambden was trying to wait him out. DeCaro using every bit of the pitch count. Here you see the difference in stolen bases the first 2 months of the season to last month. Far less efficient in that as well.
Well, the reason is, too, is that all of a sudden teams are consistently looking and picking over 1,000 times with Duke on base.
One misses away in the count 2-0. Lambden trying to get timed up at first base, really dancing over there, Gabby, and it feels like he is wanting to run. 19 of 22 in stolen base attempts this year. Not going here as DeCaro falls behind 3-0 to R.J. Hamilton.
But you can just see with Lambden at first base and what he's doing, the way that he has his lead, the little bit of a jump, what it's doing to DeCaro. One, DeCaro's doing a good job of controlling the running game with his holds, and he's mixing up his times. But he also is rushing, knowing that they might steal at any moment.
3-0, and finally a strike. And a bit of encouragement from the Carolina crowd today. It's 3-1. Don't want to put up too many base runners ahead of the next two hitters in the Duke lineup. That's where their power is. Lambden edging off first. Throw over. He was leaning again.
He wants to go. DeCaro's just doing a good job of mixing up his times and mixing when he's throwing, when he's not. You'll see long holds, then you will see basically no hold at all. That's the one way that you can control a running game without picking over 1,000 times.
He runs the 3-1, is a strike, the throw down to second, and Winslow got him. Lambden started to hold his hands up like he wanted Duke to challenge. Corey Muscara will do that. That was a perfect throw from Macon Winslow.
It was a great throw. One of the things that I look at, too, is on that slide was that hand in before the tag. And, boy, that is very close because this is what they're teaching the middle infielders. You get in front of second base, and then you're just putting a tag down, whether you're putting it down on the foot or not. So, ooh, boy, that is close. And to me, that's almost like a tie. So whatever was called on the field is what should stay.
Our umpire and crew, Robert Nunez, was on the call there. They will go and take a look. As you see Winslow, the Duke transfer. I'm sorry, Colin Hynek, excuse me. I think I said it was Winslow. It's Colin Hynek, the transfer from Georgia Southern, that is there. Georgia State. We'll get this right.
Yeah, this is one of the, you can see the umpires taking a look at the call. So here is where the tag is going to be applied. So off the bat, it looked like Lambden was going to beat it. It's where that tag is to where that tag is being applied to where the hand is on the base. Just because it's a tie does not mean that that goes to the base runner. And it looks like the tag did get applied before the hand got there.
That's the best view that we've had.
That's a heck of a throw by Hynek.
Yeah, Hynek doing a great job to gun down Lambden trying to steal. That's what the call on the field is.
One of the other things, too, is when Lambden did get up, he did tell Corey Muscara, it's close, right? He gave the hand gestures of, I don't know whether I was safe or not. Corey Muscara said, we're still going to go ahead and take a chance here.
It was like he went right to his ears and then thought better of it.
He said, you know what?
Maybe
this is a 50-50 here. I'm not sure. But what I do like is that they're taking their time and they're making sure that they get the call correct.
One more look at it here.
I mean, it's close.
So right away, and then
right away he starts to go, and then he stops, and then he gives the, I'm not sure. I might be safe, and I might not be, but I'm not 100%.
Kevin Galler is getting into the music. Carolina's second baseman grooving here. And we get the call here.
I think that's the right call. I think the call stands. To me, it was almost basically 50-50. And because the call on the field was called out, it remains out. If it was called safe, it would have remained safe.
Jeff Francis, our first base umpire, alerting us to the call standing. So the bases are empty now with one out and a full count to R.J. Hamilton at the top of the first. Those scores were just underway. Here's the payoff. Swing and miss. Hamilton chases off the plate, 2 outs. that review may have given DeCaro a little bit of a reset as the command was shaky through the first two hitters.
Yeah, right now, the command that we're seeing is glove side, right? Everything is kind of coming off of that outside corner to the right-handed hitter. So I'm guessing the thought process right now with DeCaro on the mound is attack that outside corner.
2 outs, nobody on for Caden Smith. First pitch to the Charleston Southern transfer, fouled away, 0-1. Caden Smith came in at the semester break this winter and has been a very important power bat in this Duke lineup. Duke has struggled of late to score runs. They are down to 15th in runs per game in conference play. We welcome you to Boshaber Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina for this non-conference matchup between conference rivals Duke and North Carolina. This is technically a non-conference game as both schools have finished exam week. Gabby Sanchez, Mike Farron with you today. We are going to get to see a lot of Carolina's top arms for shorter outings today, Gabby.
Yeah, because it is exam week, all of a sudden now the coaches, they need their guys to throw. And that was kind of the point of emphasis when you talked with both Corey Mascara and Scott Forbes of, hey, we're going to need these guys to throw because we can't have these many days off.
Backhanded play by Jake Schaffner at short, and he throws out Caden Smith. And after a leadoff walk and a caught stealing, Jason DeCaro gets out of the first to the bottom half. Duke and UNC scoreless. Been rainy and gloomy all weekend in the Triangle. Today it is not. It is gorgeous. 66 and bright sunshine for this non-conference affair between Duke and North Carolina. I use that in quotes as Peter Lemke begins his warm-up tosses. The starters today pitched against these teams last week as Carolina took 2 out of 3 from Duke. And Lemke, the transfer from Division III Denison, was outstanding in Duke's win last Friday.
It's always fun when you see guys have to face the same opponent in such a short period of time, because then you get to see, do they make certain adjustments against the other team, especially the way that they were able to attack the zone. For me, Peter Lemke, he's going to probably be doing the same exact thing with his 6-pitch mix. It's a lot of them. He does have a 4-seam fastball, slider, changeup, cutter. He will throw a curveball. He does throw a sinker as well. One of the things that he does well, and he really did it well against UNC the last time he faced him, he attacks the zone with every single one of his pitches.
Here's Carolina's lineup. And you see Owen Hall moved into the 2 spot today. He has been red hot. The transfer for George Mason has seen the power start to tick up. And this Carolina offense, we'll talk a little bit about it in this inning, Gabby. One of the more underappreciated, it feels like, in both the conference and the nation. This team will grind you down. Jake Schaffner, the transfer from North Dakota State, hits the first pitch back through the middle for a base hit. And a leadoff single for the Carolina shortstop. Well, he didn't really grind out that at bat, but
he was ready to attack. At least these are the type of things that we talked about. Peter Lemke just had a really good outing his last time against this UNC ball club. Now the UNC hitters have already seen them. He already knows how he's going to throw, so there is no surprise throughout the lineup 1 through 9. So it's going to be, what can Peter Lemke do all of a sudden to kind of change things here a little bit to get some outs.
Owen Hall into the 2 hole today. Talked about how hot he's been as he takes first pitch outside. We spent a lot of time with Scott Forbes today talking about lineup construction as he was kind of tinkering with the idea of moving Hull up. He has been red hot. You saw what he did last weekend at Coombs. But this Carolina lineup has really performed well in conference play. Their reputation is as a good pitching team, right? They have second in the conference in ERA in games. But Scott Forbes' team isn't just a good pitching squad. Their offense is fourth in runs per game in the ACC, in ACC games. And that's the part that I keep coming back to, is this is a team that creates a lot of traffic on the bases. They haven't cashed in as many opportunities as they would like, but at some point it feels like that dam is going to break for their offense.
The thing with UNC and their lineup is that 1 through 9 put up great at-bats, and they make pitchers work. They're looking for certain things. If they get it, they're swinging. We just saw it with Schaffner. First pitch fastball. If you give it to me, I'm going to go ahead and try to smack it. But they don't go up there trying to hit home runs. It's like they understand, hey, okay, we're not going to be a home run hitter, but we can put the ball in play. We can get guys in motion. It's a really good lineup.
More than 7 runs a game, and you see the 5 walks a game. That's the thing that really stands out, is you have to attack the strike zone against them.
They're not going to be swinging outside of the zone. They're going to make you come in. And if you fall behind, all of a sudden you become a one-pitcher pitcher. That's when all of a sudden they get that little bit of power going.
2-2 the count to Owen Hall. The runner goes, pitches outside, a ball, and it's an easy stolen base from Schaffner. And he's in scoring position with nobody out in the last of the first.
Yeah, Schaffner, that's his 22nd stolen base on the season in 25 attempts. He's one of their guys who can run. The other one is the guy who's hitting right now, Owen Hall.
This team not as powerful as the one that went to Omaha in 24, but probably a better overall offensive team that went to Game 3 of a Super Regional a year ago. The 3-2. Ball slaps it foul.
I would say a better hitter's idea of going up there and not trying to hit home runs, which is what we've seen a little bit in the past. UNC's had power guys throughout their lineups in the past couple of years hitting over 100 home runs. This team kind of understands who they are. Yeah, you got some guys that can hit homers, but that's not their identity.
The 3-2 again. Hall slaps it through the left side. That's a base hit. Schaffner to third. You'll get the stop sign from Forbes. And Carolina has him at the quarters with nobody out in the last of the first.
And again, in this situation, we talked about knowing your identity, who you are as a player. Owen Hall, what does he do? He lets that ball travel just a little bit longer. He doesn't try to do too much, just slaps the ball the opposite way with the guy in scoring position. It's what you want to see if you're Scott Forbes as your team. Hey, we don't have to try to hit a home run. We can get a big inning going by just doing what they're doing right now. Get guys in motion, stealing some bases, getting into scoring position, putting good swings on baseballs.
Here's Gavin Gallagher hitting in the 3-hole. Gallagher not having the junior year I think he was hoping to, but he certainly has had a ton of big hits in his first 2 seasons at Carolina. Runner goes, throw from Strand, cut off short of the bag. Trying to stop a little trickeration there. Second stolen base of the inning for Carolina.
Yeah, but Mike, this is when Gavin Gallagher gets going. This is his season. Right now, towards the end of the season, going into ACC tournament, going into regionals and supers, that's when all of a sudden his numbers start to go wild.
The 1-0. Outside, the count 2-0 to Gallagher. Twice he has played in a regional here at Carolina. Both of them home games. Both times, Gallagher has been the most outstanding player in the regional. He was the one that caused Mike Monaco to call this place Chapel Thrill. The 2-0. A strike in the outside corner, 2-1. That was a grand slam that won the game against Long Island, I believe, right? Long Island University was at it in regionals 2 years ago.
Let me check my book. I still have it.
While Gabby goes through the archives, we'll wait for the 2-1 from Lemke. The pitch. Fouled away in the count 2-2. Gallagher was a very highly touted recruit. He and Luke Stevenson came in together as freshmen. Stevenson was a draft eligible sophomore and went in the supplemental first round. See Gallagher's numbers in the postseason the last 2 years. And I was right. It was the Long Island University Sharks. 2-2. Foul back. I'm just going to take a victory lap for being right about something.
You were absolutely right. There it was. In the 9th inning.
Gabby kept score. It's orange in your scorebook.
Well, that was because it was the pitcher.
Oh. Color-coded.
They scored 6 runs in the 9th inning to take that win.
2-2 the count. Gallagher fouls it off his left leg. Ready some long at-bats against Lemke here in the first. Just about every pitcher on these staffs will be on shorter outings. This is the first game of the week for Duke. As Gabby mentioned, it was exam week. Carolina played a midweek against Coastal Carolina on Tuesday, and then because of the threat of inclement weather, the game against Queens College was canceled on Wednesday. So there's not been much action while student athletes have been taking their final exams. Slapped down the right field line, slicing foul. Gallagher with a bid for extra bases. Had a couple of stakes, but that one goes foul. So this is an opportunity for guys to get some work in, essentially, in a non-conference game. And for a team like North Carolina that has aspirations of being a top 8 national seed this year, it's not a game that's going to kill your RPI either. Duke's is in the hundreds, but not too bad. 8th pitch of this at-bat coming to the right-handed hitting Gallagher in the scoreless first. The 2-2. In the dirt, and the count goes full.
If you're Gallagher too, right now, what you want to see what the defense is giving you. And Duke is actually playing back, especially up the middle. So as a hitter, what I would like to do is kind of let that ball travel. I want to use a big part of the field, but I want to miss more to that right side. Why? Because I'll be able to at least get an RBI and still move that runner over to third.
The payoff. Lined into center field. It'll get down for a base hit. Scoring is Schaffner. Hall had to hold up to make sure it got through. He'll stop at third. The ball gets through on his way to second as Gallagher. He's safe. Heads up base running from Gavin Gallagher to get into scoring position. It's 1-0 Carolina.
Well, there's a lot of good things that Gavin Gallagher did on that at-bat. One, staying on that off-speed pitch and driving into center field. The other, making sure that you're reading the ball and what they're doing. Gavin Gallagher stays on it, drives it to center field, and I just love the way that he was able to keep his head up and see what was going on. Hall, he comes in, he throws, and as soon as he sees that ball up, you know what? I could take the extra base, gets himself over to second. Smart heads up base running.
Carolina keeping the pressure on, leading 1-0 with runners at second and third. Corey Biscara, the first-year head coach of the Duke Blue Devils, out to talk to Peter Lemke to try and change up the mojo for his starter today. Former Wake Forest St. John's pitching coach in his first season as the head coach at Duke. We'll talk more about what they've been through this season. It was challenging just getting a team on the field this season for the Duke Blue Devils. Here's Eric Paulson, the transfer from Stony Brook. First pitch. Down low, 1-0. He was dealing with an illness last weekend that kept him out of the lineup a bit against Duke. Excellent defensive first baseman. We were watching him take infield today, and you were like, who is that?
Yeah, I was watching him, and I'm like, hey, this Polson kid's got a nice glove at first base. The footwork, what he was able to do at first, moving around the base.
He's got a little bit of power. Also with 7 home runs. Only one Carolina player in double digits this year. That's the man in the on-deck circle, Cooper Nicholson. 2-0 the count. The pitch. Swing and miss. Tied up on that one, and Paulson gave Lemke a little nod like, all right, let's see what you got there. 2-1.
2-0, you're expecting I'm going to get a fastball, get some breaking ball. But sometimes you're just in swing mode on 2-0. You know what? I'm going to cheat to this pitch.
Takes inside to the count 3-1.
That was the same exact pitch that he swung at 2-0. Learned from it, gave the nod of saying, all right, I got you. This time, didn't swing. He laid off of it.
He's got a 3-ball count to all 4 hitters he's faced today. Or 3 of the 4, excuse me. Outside, ball 4. And the bases are now loaded, and there's still nobody out in the first inning. And starting to get some action to the Duke bullpen. And here's Cooper Nicholson. Nicholson hit a home run to end a game against Louisville. In the series here, it was a Thursday game. He was hitting under 200 at the time. Now he has taken off. The average only at 260 of the year, but you see how hot he's been. And he leads this team with 11 homers. There is real power. Excellent defensive third baseman. Junior college transfer, swings and pops the first one up into shallow right. Hamilton coming in. He'll make the catch. Hull tags and bluffs going from third. He'll hold on there, and that's the first out. R.J. Hamilton can cover a lot of ground in right field.
I mean, typically a guy that you would think would be playing center field because of how much ground he can cover. But they have him in right field at the moment. And right now, you're kind of looking at a situation where if you're Peter Lemke, you're a ground ball away from only giving up 1 run in this inning, when it looked like UNC was going to make this a huge inning.
Macon Winslow bats. The Duke transfer rips it through the left side for a base hit. Hull scores, racing around third. Gallagher. The throw cut off. It's a 2-run single for Macon Winslow against his former mates, and it's 3-0 Carolina in the first.
And again, you can kind of see what UNC is doing. Being aggressive early in the count, especially off of fastballs. Be ready to hit. If he gives you a good fastball, get that foot down, burn and turn. And that's what we have been seeing out of UNC. We saw it. Cooper Nicholson got a good pitch to hit. He ends up flying out to right, but they didn't stop there. Macon Winslow, he comes up, gets a good pitch to hit, and he's not missing it.
Tyler Howe, the talented freshman left fielder, will bat. He has worked his way into the everyday lineup now. Starting against both righties and lefties as he takes a strike. It's 0-1. See, Howe was on base a lot in that series last week against Duke. The pitch takes outside, and the count 1-1. Already 26 pitches for Lemke in this first. What should be, again, a shorter outing for him. And low. And the count 2-1.
Now they're hoping with Peter Lemke to not just go 1 inning with all these pitches. They wanted to see if they could at least get 3 or 4 out of him before going into the bullpen. But with Corey Muscara, he might be having to think, you know what, I don't want to just absolutely, you know, blow up a Peter Lemke at this moment in time. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden he might only throw 1 inning, maybe 2.
Aiden Weaver has been the ace of this Duke staff, but he has thrown a lot of innings this season. We don't necessarily anticipate seeing Weaver today. Down low, and the count is full now to Howe. Lemke had kind of moved into the rotation after the Florida State series. He's had some very good outings, including last week against North Carolina. He was outstanding in a Thursday game against Louisville to open the series. That was at a time when Duke got to 500 in league. Since then, they've dropped 11 of 13 overall. Pick play to second, and the runner back. The set. And the payoff. Fouled away. I think it's been about 3 1-pitch at bats, and everything else has gone to three-ball counts, and they are just. I mean, this is again when we talked about the outset, the grind of the North Carolina offense.
It's a tough lineup because this is what they do. They'll be aggressive early, and then all of a sudden they're not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. They will battle at their at bats.
3-2 again, misses down and in. Ball 4, second walk of the inning for Lemke. And it reloads the bases with 1 out for Colin Heineck.
That's Lemke's second walk of the inning. He's given up 4 singles. It's not like he's getting hit extra base hits, but boy, this UNC lineup, they can hit the ball hard. They make pitchers work. And it's not just the top of the lineup. It's 1 through 9.
Heineck down into the 8-hole now. He is slowed a bit. The transfer from Georgia Southern takes the ball low, 1-0. 5 homers on the year. But he's in the top 10 all time for the Georgia State Panthers at home runs. So he has power. It has not shown up consistently this year. 2 hits last week into the series, but a couple walks as well as he takes upstairs. It's 2-0. And you see his numbers with the bases loaded are pretty good. 11 runs knocked in at bases loaded situations this year.
He's going to come right after.
2-0. The pitch. 3-0 to Heineck.
And this UNC team, they are not expanding their zone at all. And right now for Peter Lemke on the mound, he's just having some trouble finding the zone because he feels like every single time he goes in there, especially with the fastball, it's getting hit. He's just not able to command his off-speed pitches right now.
Pitch number 35 of the inning for Lemke. And it's high, ball 4, and he walks in a run. It's 4-0 Carolina.
That's going to be it.
That is going to be it for Lemke. Corey Muscara out of the dugout, and he is going to make a pitching change here with 1 out in the first inning. 4 runs home for North Carolina. They still have the bases loaded and 1 out. Lemke faced 8 batters. We'll tell you about the new pitcher for Duke coming up in a moment. Carolina and Duke today on the ACC Network. Today's series finale between Florida State and Boston College is this evening at 5 Eastern right here on ACC Network. Like everything else, it's also available on the ESPN app. Chucky Kemp, Jenny Dalton Hill standing by when we are done here. We will send things up to Chestnut Hill. New pitcher here for Duke already. 1 out into the first. Marcello Mastriani, the transfer from Georgetown, takes over. Gabby, you got one look at him between innings and said,
oh, this is funky. It's a funky lefty. This is 6'3". You've got everything coming at you with this windup. It's a low 3/4, almost a sidewind with that fastball. Not an overpowering, but it's deception. 85 to 88 miles an hour with the fastball. He will throw a changeup, does have a slider, especially because he's that sidewinder. It's going to have some sink with that fastball. And right now, that's what he's going to be looking for. He needs to try to get a ground ball here.
Carter French is getting hit, the number 9 hitter, the senior who got the start. Has been part of a platoon with Jaden Nunez in the outfield as he takes a strike. It's 0-1. The right-hander on the mound today. French got the start. The Tampa Jesuit product. will stay. Here's the set. And the 0-1 down low. And the count 1-1.
Very whippy on the mound. And you see when he's in his delivery, there's a lot of arms coming at you. You have that leg, and then where that release point is coming out, especially against lefties, that slider is going to play. It's going to look like it's going to be coming from behind the lefties.
That would flip the knee of French, and it's 5-0 Carolina. Breaking ball turned to the corner, but it hit the pylon on its way. And another run here for Carolina in the first.
Yeah, one of the things I was looking at was, does he take the knee and bring it out to the ball? Not as much as you think.
Duke's already lost one of their two challenges.
Yeah, they can't challenge
it. Feels like they could do it, but
you don't want to do it already in that first inning and have both of your challenges gone.
10th man to come to the plate is Schaffner. He's already singled and scored in the inning. Also stolen a base as he takes a strike. 2-1. If there is a big red flag with this North Carolina offense, again, they grind at bats really well. They are not as good against left-handed pitching as they are against righties. And it's a lot of lefties in the lineup.
Yeah.
And so facing somebody as funky as Mastriani, again, from Carolina's standpoint, this game is about getting ready for the rest of the ACC season, but also getting ready for the postseason. But you can see the numbers there. About a 30-point difference in batting average, and that it's a lot fewer plate appearances against lefties, but the numbers, the slug is way down, the on-base percentage down against them. This is something that they probably need to work on a bit.
And that's the point, because guess what? We have those numbers, and guess who else will have those numbers? Every other team that they're going to be playing against, especially when you start getting into regionals, and if they're able to make it past the super regionals and then College World Series.
Schaffner up the alley in left center. Going back is Albright to make the catch. Tagging from third and coming home is the runner, Howe, and it's now 6-0 North Carolina in the first. Good job to execute against the lefty for Schaffner.
And there's certain things, too, that, Scott Forbes would be able to do in certain situations to try to mimic a lefty to get his hitters into a better position, right? There's machine work that you can use, especially off the slider, to have it curve, because this is something that I guarantee you go into regionals, they might face a lefty who might be a number 3 guy just because it's a lefty.
Owen Hall singled, stole a base, and scored his first trip as he fouls it back. It's 0-1. Yeah, they don't strike out against lefties much. They do draw some walks against him. But the biggest difference to me is there's 100 points less of slug.
Right. The extra base hits are going to be the problem. So they'll put the ball in play. They'll get their singles, but there's just no power lefty-lefty.
The 0-1. Fouled away off to the left out of play in the count of 2. And to your point, like some of those tools that they have, Carolina is one of the teams that has one of the traject arc machines, which is like the coolest pitching machine that's ever existed, where it can replicate not just the metrics on a pitch, but also the delivery via hologram. I realize this sounds super futuristic, but it's not the Jetsons. That's something that they have. Do the kids still watch the Jetsons?
No, I don't think so.
Well, what would be futuristic now?
I don't watch cartoons.
You have kids, though.
My kids are 11, 12, and 13.
They don't watch
TikTok.
They don't care about the future?
No. What's on TikTok? That's what they're looking at.
Whatever the most futuristic TikTok account is, just use that as the comparison. Let's do it too.
I mean, it's something that you sing a lot in the big leagues. I know that the Marlins have it, and all the guys rave about it because they get to go up there and, they've never seen a guy pitch. Well, they get to have 100 at-bats against him before they even face him.
Wake Forest has one. I know Duke is getting one shortly, but it is a really cool device. Down low, and the count is full.
I mean, we have seen that UNC lineup, kind of what they're known for in this inning. Long at bats, making pitchers work, not swinging outside of the zone.
And They've already seen close to 50 pitches in this inning. And this is the fourth 3-2 count. The runners go just off the plate, ball 4. Hull was far more confident that was off the plate than I was, but he takes the walk. Fourth walk of the inning issued by Duke pitching. First from Mastriani, and now here's Gallagher.
And this is right here with Gavin Gallagher coming up, where you can't make a mistake, because Gavin Gallagher can hit the ball out of the ballpark very quickly. So you have to be able to make the right pitch. I would like to see him kind of come into Gavin Gallagher to open up that outside part of the plate.
First pitch. Gallagher takes a strike. It's 0-1. Single home run his first trip. This is the guy, I think, that could be the equalizer against lefties, but he has really struggled against them this year. His OPS 160 points lower against left-handers than righties. The 0-1. Down low. The count now 1-1 to Gallagher.
He was able to backdoor that slider in the first pitch. I just love that fastball. He threw it in. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to backdoor that slider again.
6 runs home already in the first for Carolina. Swing and a miss. Went to the breaker again, Gabby, and it's 1-2.
And that's kind of what you have to do as a lefty on the mound. You got to work the east and west against a right-handed hitter. If you're able to control that inside part of the plate, it opens up that outside part of the plate for you.
Mastriani's 1-2. Swing and a miss. He gets Gallagher on strikes, and the inning is over. But North Carolina sends 12 to the plate. 6 of them score. To the second we go. 6-0 North Carolina. Jason DeCaro, the starter for North Carolina, has one of the top ERAs of the country at 2.17 coming in. But he struggled with an illness against BC and then against Clemson and nearly was taken out of the Friday role as the ace for North Carolina. He has responded by putting together 2 great starts. One of them against this Duke team last Thursday. Before that, in the opener of Carolina's series win over Georgia Tech, he was dynamite. This 3-year starter for North Carolina is reaching the end of his run in Carolina blue. He likely will be a late day 1 pick in the Major League Baseball first-year player draft in July. He has been an absolute favorite of Scott Forbes.
How can you not? You come into school as a young 17-year-old, should have still been in high school, and then you go out there and you're basically a Friday night starter as a 17-year-old.
2-0. Matthew Strand popped up the first base side. The catcher will be retired by Eric Paulson. Leadoff man gone in the Duke second, excuse me. Bring up Michael DiMartini with 1 out. Yeah, DeCaro, so the story on him coming to school at the age where he turned, 17 as a freshman, or was 17 as a freshman while he was pitching through most of the ACC season. This is not one of those kids that reclassified to try and get into the draft, or we've seen a couple of kids, right? Last night, Christian Serrano, the shortstop for North Carolina State, who's filling in, came to school this semester. Andrew Costello at Wake Forest did that. This is, the story is even funnier for DeCaro. I've told it a couple times over the years, but his parents just enrolled him in school a year early, like in kindergarten, a year early. And that's why he was only 17 years old when he got to campus. If I remember right, it was something along the lines of, we didn't know any better. We enrolled him, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's really young for his age.
Yeah, why would you at that point? Hey, yeah, we got him into school early. He was able to do it, and we didn't realize that at that point he was going to be this good at baseball.
The comparison that Scott Forbes used for DeCaro that I found was really interesting is Zach Gallen. And Gallen, the comparison was this. It was less about the stuff and more about the fact that he felt like DeCaro's best days are ahead of him in pro ball. And part of that is that youth. And that strikeout number 200 in his North Carolina career. And they will take this ball, and I believe the plan is to throw it out of play. DeCaro may not know, but that is his 200th strikeout.
Does everybody? Oh, there he goes.
And
now he got figured out.
That'll go to his family.
That's going to go to his pops. That's what we got told.
So 2 outs and nobody on for Colin Anderson, the freshman second baseman from Long Island. And he lines that one into right center field. It's a base hit. French over to get it. First hit of the day for Duke. Comes with 2 outs of the second, and a Gabby Sanchez approved young man.
He is a Gabby Sanchez approved. I watched him take BP. And, man, it's just a really nice, short, compact swing. Uses the big part of the field. Not only can he hit, he plays a really nice second base. Probably be able to see him at shortstop next season. I think that's probably what's going to be his position. But, man, just a nice, short, compact swing from the middle infielder.
Bobby Marsh, the transfer from Miami, stands in. He's taking over at first base down the stretch as he fouls it down the left field line. Well-traveled senior, spent a couple of years at Penn State, where he was an all Big Ten performer. 6-0 North Carolina in the second. The 0-1's a strike, it's 0-2. DeCaro set. And a toss to first where Anderson scrambles back. Remind me to tell you the story about Anderson later on, Gabby, about how Duke found him, because he was a late recruit. This is going to be one of the really good recruiting finds for Duke over the next 3 years. He's going to be a big-time player for them next season.
You want that in the third inning?
Yeah, can you make a note?
I got it.
Next time he comes up. Swing and a miss. Marsh down on strikes. And the inning is over. A 2-out single, a man left through 1.5. It's all Carolina today. They're up 6-0. 6-0 North Carolina in the bottom of the second inning. You get a look at the Duke Blue Devils. Already set a school record for stolen bases. Corey Muscar, their first-year head coach. 30 new players on this roster. He had 9 days to build it.
It's crazy.
I mean, barely had any time to put it together. Was hired very late in the process as Eric Paulson dumps that one down the left field line. It's a base hit. It'll check up. Paulson gets to first and will make the turn and hold on there. As the throw comes into second. I wish I could hit a loft wedge the way
I was just about to say it. I wish I could do that on the golf course. He made that ball check up and everything. That was a beauty. Lefty, lefty, stays on it enough off the end of the bat. Look how this ball just checks up right on the green.
I mean, he's got about 12 foot for birdie. Leadoff single for Paulson. We'll bring up Cooper Nicholson. And he takes a strike 0-1. But this team for Duke basically got put together at the last minute. They are the self-proclaimed island of misfit toys. And they managed to get off to a terrific start, not just in non-conference play, but getting to the middle of the ACC season, and they were at 500 in league. And since then, everything has just caught up on them, and you can see the difference in that streak where they have lost 11 of their last 13, the ERA near 10. And this week, with finals week happening, they have not played since they played Carolina on Saturday last weekend. Had 3 full days off, got the team together, did a little workout, had some barbecue, played some video games.
Play some wiffle ball offhand. So you have to, if you're a righty, you have to be a lefty, having some fun, just getting the guy's mind off of the everyday grind.
And I think that's one of Corey Muscara's great strengths, as their head coach is. He's going to try and make baseball as fun as possible. Listen, he is as competitive as anybody, but he has just such a good, loose way about him that I think it's a big reason why this team believed that they could exceed expectations in the first half of conference season. The problem is that they started to look at the record and they were like, well, wait a second, what if we're actually good? Right? What if we might be able to make the tournament? And things have kind of turned since.
And then all of a sudden you put a little bit too much pressure on yourself and you take away the fun. And that's kind of what happens where Corey Muscara, he's trying to continue the fun. Like, hey, guys, we're going out there. We're just going to have fun. Don't worry about the score. Don't worry about the record. Let's just go play Duke style of baseball that we have right now. It's a team, I'll tell you what, it's a scrappy team that can beat anybody on any given day.
3-2 the count, and the pitch to Nicholson. Strike 3 called at the bottom of the zone. Nicholson was turning ahead to first and instead will spin back to the dugout, 1 out.
Yeah, too close a pitch to take. This is a fastball down in the zone. You got to be able to swing the bat there. Yeah, probably might be a ball down, but still, it's just too close to take on a 3-2 count.
1 out for Bacon Winslow. Winslow 2-run single in the 6-run Carolina first. Takes low, the count 1-0. Winslow was one of those players that had been at Duke. He was there last season. Most of the Duke roster left. If you're not familiar with the story, Chris Pollard, their head coach, after their super regional loss last year, took the job at the University of Virginia and took the vast majority of the Duke roster with him. They went into the portal. They ended up at UVA. Winslow was one of the few who didn't go to Virginia. He was a Cape Cod League teammate of Olin Johnson, the injured reliever for Carolina. And that's part of what helped to grease the skids for him to end up just going across town. That and probably needed less help to move. There's a balk on Mastriani.
Yep.
Quick pitch.
Yep, never stopped.
Puts Paulson in scoring position with 1 out.
So he's moving, did not pause. And because of that, they called it on. There was a quick little pause, but you have to hold, just like he's doing now.
Winslow to center field and deep, going back out of DeMartini, and it's out of here. two-run homer for Macon Winslow, and it is 8-0 North Carolina.
This is Macon Winslow's 8th home run on the season. Gets a fastball, stays on it, and drives it over that center field wall. Here's the other thing, Mike, me and you, we were watching BP today. The ball was not flying out all that much, but boy, this was a line drive that's going to cut through everything. Absolutely smashed to center field.
And Duke will be on to their third pitcher of the afternoon. A pitching change coming here with North Carolina leading 8-0 in the second. And here comes the new pitcher for Duke. We'll tell you about him in just a moment.
Macon Winslow, have yourself a day in your first two at-bats. This one, fastball, 109 miles an hour off the bat, 415 feet to straightaway center. That's his 4th RBI of the day. North Carolina up 8-0 right now on Duke, bottom of the second.
41 RBIs of the season, a career high for Winslow, and the new pitcher Bennett LaPalme, the junior, takes over. The walk total a little high. I've seen LaPalme a couple of times be very, very good out of the Duke bullpen, though, as he faces the lefty Tyler Howe. Bouncer foul the first. It's 0-1.
LaPalme on the mound. It's a 4-pitch pitcher, has a fastball slider. He'll throw a changeup. He also has a sweeper, but he's mostly a fastball slider style pitcher. Fastball 89 to 92 from the southpaw.
Palm, a transfer from Dayton. 24 games for the Flyers last year. But misses, and the count 1-1. North Carolina all over Duke to this point today. They won the finale of that series last weekend 22-5. It was a 4-4 game in the 5th inning, and then Duke watch North Carolina just parade around the bases at Coons. After 2 low-scoring affairs, this one definitely not low-scoring today. Good breaking ball there for out number 2.
That's a really good slider. And against lefties, it's mostly fastball slider. There's a lot of action on this slider, where it starts to where it finishes. Crosses the complete plate. Starts about a ball or 2 in off the plate, works its way all the way to the outside corner.
2 outs for Colin Heineck. Heineck walked to the bases loaded in the 6-run first. Carolina set 12 to the plate in the inning. First pitch inside, it's 1-0. Heineck, a guy with a very big personality. He did a bunch of social media videos when he was at Georgia Southern, and he was definitely the star of the show. Grounded to Lambden and Short, who will fire head high to first, and the inning is over. North Carolina tacks on with a 2-run homer from Macon Winslow as we head to the third. It's 8-0 North Carolina. Ramsey's out here posing for photos. Judging from the condition of his jersey, Gabby, I think he had a pretty good Saturday night. So,
Chest out. You know, just showing everybody what you're working with.
Hey, he definitely does not miss arm day, that's for sure.
No, he doesn't.
8-0 North Carolina as we start the third. This, I have to tell you, this day today, yes, I know you've been working out this week. Thank you.
Still sore. I'm still so sore.
Today is absolutely perfect. I don't want to make you jealous at home, but it is 66 degrees. It is bright sunshine. There's that breeze that's just got
a little bit,
just a tinge of winter to it, but you can tell that spring is coming, and a great crowd for this Sunday afternoon affair. Bouncer foul. Colton Quagliano, the transfer from the University of Illinois. And the count of 0-2 to the Duke third baseman. Quagliano, a 2-year starter for the Illini. Excellent defender. As you can tell, not a whole lot of power. Slaps it foul and out of play. This is one of the really beautiful venues in the ACC at Bosch. We were talking to some of the Carolina staff before the game today about the crowds in the last 5 or 6 years have taken on a different energy here. And I had to think there are a couple reasons for it, but one of it has to be the success of the program and the energy that they continue to bring. It feels like post-COVID that there's a number of these venues that have really turned out incredible crowds in college baseball. Nice play by Nicholson to retire Quagliano for out number 1.
I mean, winning is going to bring fans, right? And then you talk about UNC, they already have fans. But of course, when you are winning ball games and you're one of the top teams in the country, fans are going to come out to support. And they definitely have a lot of support here today.
Look at that. It's outscoring opponents by 4 runs a game in Scott Forbes' era at home. One out for the number 9 hitter, Tyler Albright, who swings and misses. It's 0-1. Yeah, there was this reputation that North Carolina had as being a wine and cheese crowd, and that has changed a little bit. Some of it might be because they're selling beers at the ballpark, and that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah, hey, come to the ballpark.
A dog and a beer and a ball game, right? Like there's nothing like it. Yeah. But this is an absolutely beautiful place to watch a baseball game. And I I think it's fun that, we were at Doak last night, which is on the NC State campus, and that's a really fun place with a great environment. And Coombs, where Duke plays, is not like any other ballpark in the ACC. It is definitely of its time and place when it was built.
Yeah.
It was in the 1930s, I believe. And so there's still like steel girders and spots that might block your view.
But they're doing some stuff there.
They are. They are building out a new player development center.
They're building a lot of it out. And once they get done with that whole entire stadium, it is going to be a beautiful ballpark.
I love it. I think it is such a cool park because it is so old school. It just has that kind of classic baseball vibe to it. And it's small. There's berms in foul territory. And especially on the right field side, the kids can play it. It's really a neat place. Albright down on strikes, 2 outs. And then you get, just not far down the road, of course, you have Winston-Salem, too, and that can be a great environment at the couch as well, in the coziest of ACC environments. So, I don't know if you heard this, but a couple weeks ago, I was there for the NC State-Wake Forest series. I hit 2 home runs. I didn't really. Jake Lambden walked to lead off the game, one of 2 base runners that Duke has had against Jason DeCaro. Bats trailing 8-0 in the 3rd. Yeah, the triangle is a hotbed. And I think Duke's success over the last decade, 4 super regionals in the last 8 years of Chris Pollard's tenure there as the head coach, has helped to elevate baseball in the area, right? You have NC State that's been to 3 Omahas under Elliott Avent at North Carolina. Feels like a near annual Omaha contender. Foul over our head. And the count 2-1. But the more good baseball there is in the triangle, the better it is for fans. And if you don't have a rooting interest, you're probably in the minority around here. But you've got your pick of some great ballparks to see high-quality baseball at. 3-1 the count. The pitch from DeCaro. Foul back, and the count goes full. Two outs, nobody on. Top of the 3rd, 8-0 North Carolina in this non-conference affair between these conference rivals. The 3-2. Hammered down the left field line towards the corner, and it'll one-hop against the bottom of the fence. Jake Lambden with a 2-out double in the 1st, and he's been on base twice against DeCaro.
That's a short, compact swing by Lambden. Really nice, getting those hands into the zone, pulling them quickly. Just a quick, short swing. A lot of power, line drive, one-hop the fence, gets himself into scoring position, and those are grenade and covers his ears. That's not a throwing of a grenade. Throwing of a grenade is when you just bloop one in and it finds an area. That ball was well struck.
Maybe he's not happy with the fact it was a topspin liner.
It was a topspin.
Jake Hamilton takes a breaking ball strike. It's 0-1. Hamilton a strikeout victim in the 1st. Jason DeCaro not expected to go particularly deep.
I would think that this would probably be his last inning.
The 0-1. Hamilton fouls it off to the right and out of play, and the count 0-2 now to the right fielder.
And the only reason why is because Scott Forbes wants to use multiple pitchers here today. He needs to get work in for a couple different pitchers, some that he probably doesn't want to throw at all, some that he needs to go ahead and throw.
Walker McDuffie starting to get loose, the rubber-armed sophomore reliever. A 0-2. Hamilton takes inside. Rushed him in at 94 there.
That is one of the things where when you look at Jason DeCaro, what's going to be the next jump for him, right? He's going to get drafted. He's going to be pitching in the minor leagues. What's going to get him to the big leagues? It's going to be that, controlling that inside part of the plate.
Hamilton pops it up. Shallow left. Howe dancing under it, makes the catch, and the inning is over. Duke gets a 2-out double. They strand a man. It's 8-0 Carolina as we head to the bottom of the third.
Doesn't get a lot bigger than this.
Run straight for the breakaway.
Who will emerge? We'll see.
Just now 16 days from the start of the ACC Baseball Championship. Here's what the bracket would look like today. This is Clemson taking the series from Boston College. 17th straight time the Tigers have won a series from BC. They win today 4-3. BC, the 3 seed, see North Carolina at 2. Duke would play Stanford in the Academic Bowl, and the last of the openers on Tuesday night. As things stand right now, that would be an interesting matchup. Stanford can really hit. First pitch outside, Carter French. It's 1-0. 8-0 North Carolina here in the third. There's the set and the 1-0. Let's take a look at those matchups again, Gabby. Is there anybody that you look at on those lines and say, man, this is one that I'm really interested in, either in the first round or potential later matchups?
Well, I mean, one of the fun ones that we're going to kind of take a look at, that Louisville-Notre Dame one. I kind of like, because the way that Notre Dame started off this season, that's a very good team, playing very good baseball. Louisville, they're going to have to win. Like, for me, Louisville's going to have to get deep into this tournament to maybe hopefully get a spot in the NCAA tournament. So that's going to be a fun one there that I'm kind of looking at.
Yeah, that is not going to be easy for Louisville if they have to face Jack Riddell in the opener. I mean, Riddell, the ace for Notre Dame, has had a tremendous year and really increased his draft stock. But if Louisville gets through that, then you get a rematch. If everything holds the way it is now, you get a rematch of last year's Super Regional against Miami in the next round. Slap through the left side, a base hit for Carter French to start the Carolina third. It looks like right now, we get a look at French's base hit here.
And again, it's what we've seen out of North Carolina here today. Letting that ball travel, using the big part of the field, going opposite field, not trying to do too much.
Brings up Jake Shafter, who walked and scored, delivered a sacrifice fly, both in the first inning. North Carolina sent 12 men to the plate. First pitch. In the dirt, 1-0. It does look right now like the ACC has 8 locks, maybe 9. Virginia Tech winning the series from Cal this weekend has put them in very good shape. Their RPI is pretty strong. NC State, I know that last night's win over Miami for them in what was a really entertaining ball game, and Shafter smashes it to center. DeMartini's got a beat on it as he makes the catch, crossing onto the warning track for the first out. But North Carolina State's win yesterday, I think, went a long way to helping them breathe easier. Pitt is the one to watch here on this list right now. I would substitute Virginia Tech at this moment. They got swept in a doubleheader yesterday at Florida State. And listen, that's going to happen sometimes with Wes Mendez and Trey Beard. Mendez going the distance is incredible against that Pitt lineup. They still have North Carolina left on their schedule as well.
Yeah, not an easy schedule left for Pitt. You're right. That lineup, boy, they can absolutely slug.
Fouled away by Owen Hole. It's 0-1.
And what Wes Mendez was able to do there against them was mighty impressive.
And then Trey Beard followed it up. And listen, Pitt's pitching is not as strong. Florida State's offense hasn't been great this season, especially since Miles Bailey went out. Gabe Frazier's been a nice spark plug for them, but the fact that they swept that doubleheader and did it in fairly convincing fashion. What did they score? Was it 19 runs total over it, or 20 runs over the doubleheader? It's certainly impressive. But today's a big day for Pitt. I mean, they're going to get an RPI boost just by playing Florida State, but if they can get the finale of that series, that will help them. They have not been to a regional since 1994. The runner goes, the throw not in time, and it trickles into center field. French will get up and head to third. It's a throwing error after the stolen base, as Matthew Strand's throw got away. It's a man at third with one out here in the third. Duke has had an issue throwing out base stealers this season, and Strand has done the vast majority of the catching because of injuries behind the plate. 1-2. Hall lines it foul down the left field line. Three stolen bases today for North Carolina. French way down the line at third. The 1-2 just missed. 2-2.
It's just really fun to watch this UNC ball club. As you can see, Duke catchers have only thrown out six people out of 106 stolen base attempts.
2-2. Rolled back through the middle. It'll get the run home. Landon a long way to get to it and makes a fine play to throw out the speedy Hall. 2 outs. It scores a run to make it 9-0, but Jake Lambton had to cover a lot of ground to make that play.
I didn't think that he was going to be able to make that play with Owen Hall running down the line. Lambton, look at the range that he shows here, where he's able to get this ball. Not only that, how quick he gets it in and out of his glove and gets it over to first base.
He is a really talented player, a transfer from Xavier. He was a two-way player, actually, for the Musketeers. But he will show you flashes defensively like that. The consistency hasn't always been there, but, man, the tools are really loud with Lambton. He's going to be an interesting guy come draft day as to whether or not he decides to come back to Duke for a senior season or if he goes pro. He's probably not going to get taken until late day 2, but he's a really talented player. Gallagher skies it to left. Coming in is Albright. He'll make the catch, and the inning is over. Another run for North Carolina. We'll visit with Corey Muscara coming up. The Duke head coach. Carolina leads 9-0. 9-0 North Carolina as we start the top of the fourth. We're pleased to be joined now by the Duke head coach, Corey Muscara. And it's one of the things that I appreciate about you is in the toughest moments, it never seems like you get down. Where did you get that mentality, and how do you want your players to react to that?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could tell you it was easy. You got to work for it, you know. Nothing's easy, but I don't think getting down is going to do any good. You know, I think you got to find solutions, and I think we need to find some solutions right now. They're taking us to the woodshed, so we got to find a way to get back in this game and compete, and that's life, you know. Nobody cares if you lose. No one feels sorry for you. You got to get off the mat, and you got to keep coming, you know.
Moose, how tough is this? You had exam weeks. You only have one game that you're playing this week. To be able to kind of navigate who you're trying to throw to make sure that they get work in.
Yeah, I mean, we went into this game trying to get a bunch of guys work, trying not to get too many guys to throw. And obviously, we're going to get that opportunity. We're going to probably see about 6 or 7 more guys here today. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's tough to navigate as much as it is. We just got to find some guys that went out there and throw strikes. I mean, Bennett did a better job the last inning in 2/3. He was competitive in the zone. You know, we gave a free one away on a stolen base, but other than that, he was competitive in the zone, and that's what I'm looking for. Guys that want the ball, want to get out to the strike zone.
Yeah. Moose, we appreciate the time. Best of luck today.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Moose.
Corey Muscara, the head coach of the Duke Blue Devils, as Ryan Lynch, the regular Saturday starter for North Carolina, takes over. We'll see him for the next couple innings out of the pen. He was key reliever as a freshman a season ago, and he has very, very good stuff. Draft-eligible sophomore. He will face Caden Smith, the DH. Takes outside 1-0. That's 95 that plays like 905. I mean, it's quick.
The fastball velo, 93 to 96, has a slider. He will throw sinkers into righties. Also has that changeup that he tunnels that sinker with.
That one 96 and fouled away in the count. 1-1. But we were talking earlier about the challenges that Corey Muscara faces at Duke. Obviously, it is an extremely well-regarded academic institution, which limits what they can do in the transfer portal. They'll be able to have grad transfers, but a lot of it is going to be about freshman development. And we had a great conversation with him today, Gabby, talking a little bit about what he appreciated from what Chris Pollard did. You asked him, I mean, straight out, he's like, do you have a greater appreciation for what Pollard did?
Yeah, because now he's starting to see it from that aspect of it, of like, it isn't easy to be able to get certain guys to come. One, because the academic standards are so high that you just can't have any random player come. So it's a lot harder to kind of who is going to come into the school, and then you have these transfers that are trying to come in. There's a lot of work to be done, but he's somebody that I can see being able to easily navigate through, you know, the portals and getting guys to come in.
Called strike 3. Smith down on strikes, so the first out here in the 4th. I also think, though, that they have a really interesting freshman class that's coming in, and they have some guys that are potentially going to be drafted, which is a little bit of a concern for them, but that's a good problem to have. It means you're recruiting the right players too, right? And that's not that Duke didn't recruit well before that. I mean, that
and you're
Pollard
the recruits.
Yeah,
right? Like that's the main point. Where now you're going up against a UNC, you're going up against a Wake, which is where he was coaching. You're going up against all these other big-time universities, and all of a sudden, who's getting them? Well, Moose is getting them, and Duke is getting them. Now, the problem is going to be, of course, those guys might sign, and you're not getting them at all.
Selling a player on the Duke program is not going to be Corey Muscara's issue. I mean, he could sell, what's the old adage, you could sell water to a drowning man. Like, he could do that. He's also incredibly smart when it comes to pitching. I was just kind of curious when we were talking to him, and we've had a ton of conversations over the years with Moose, but just why the Duke job was the right one for him. And it was interesting listening to him talk about it because he had opportunities. He had interviewed at places like Penn State and Ohio State. And he just knew it was time, right? He had had a good run at Wake Forest, and the timing of the opportunity came at the right moment for him. And he was not wanting to be an assistant coach forever as Strand goes down on strikes, 2 outs. But I am buying what Corey Muscara is selling in terms of building Duke back into the program that Chris Pollard had built. I mean, it's Mike Rooney, our colleague here at ESPN, says that Chris Pollard dragged Duke into caring about baseball, right? Like it was, and really they have not had much of a history over the last 60 years. It's 4 super regionals in the last 8 seasons, and that was all under Pollard. And it's a step back this year because of the roster, but.
Right. I mean, you had Corey Muscara come in, and he basically had like 2 weeks to fill a team, and all his guys basically had left. So he had to basically go into the portal and say, well, who wants to come? And he was able to get the Island of Misfits, like they call themselves, together. And they were playing baseball. Listen, 9-15 in the ACC, playing against the type of competition that they're playing against, not easy to do. And still putting out a team that can, you know, yeah, today you're looking at it's 9-0. But we've seen them go up against a lot of good teams with really good games and beat good teams. Just playing competitive baseball.
1-2 the count to Michael DiMartini. The Dayton transfer got off to a slow start this season. Got hot in the middle of ACC play. He has real power as he takes outside, and the count 2-2. Yeah, just to finish the point on it, I'm really curious to see what Duke's roster looks like next year. And
yeah, and then on, because you're going to have to give Corey Muscara, what, 4 years to really see what type of players he's bringing in, and then, you know, the identity that he wants his team to have. It's hard when you're coming in and you're kind of just, hey, who wants to come? Let's get a team together, and then what are we going to do, and who are we? But that's not technically who he wants the team to be at a certain point. It's going to take some time to get those players in.
Well, he was a terrific recruiter at Wake Forest, too, and so he's got some phone numbers that he can pass on to people that'll help to sell them on the program. One behind DiMartini, the count is full.
Come on, Mike, win it.
2 outs, nobody on, top of the 4th. 9-0 North Carolina. Ryan Lynch has fanned the first 2 that he's faced. The righty spins and fires. Upstairs, ball 4, a 2-out walk. This next weekend featured baseball game on ACC Network and the ESPN app is Saturday afternoon. Number 14, Florida State and Clemson will play the second game of their 3-game series at Doug Kingsmore Stadium, beginning at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. There have only been a handful of crazy Florida State Clemson games over the last 2 years. Hopefully there'll be another next weekend. Colin Anderson swings and misses.
Talking about a Clemson team who back up against the wall. They're going to have to not only win out, but they're going to have to win that ACC tournament to be able to make it to the NCAA tournament.
Colin Anderson, the freshman, takes high. He has one of the 2 Duke hits today. The right-handed hitting infielder from Long Island. Takes outside, count 2-1. Anderson was a largely unknown recruit. I was going to tell the story, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So he was a largely unknown recruit. He played a lot of second base early on. And Corey Muscara kind of got a tip to go and see him play. And they went in to watch him. They really liked the swing. They liked the athleticism. He was not committed to a big program at that point at Chaminade High School, which is a very good high school program. In fact, that was where Jason DeCaro, I believe, began his high school career in the state of New York. But Anderson wasn't even the top recruit on that team. He was playing second base with a shortstop who was Kentucky's recruit, and he ended up replacing him at short his senior year. Pops out here to Kevin Gallagher. Anderson retired, and that ends the top of the 4th. 9-0 North Carolina. An 8-mile jaunt from Duke's campus to UNC's, these classic ACC rivals taking the rivalry to the diamond today. North Carolina with 12 men going to the plate in the first inning, scored half a dozen runs. Peter Lemke chased after a third of an inning, and North Carolina's pitching, Jason DeCaro and Ryan Lynch, have shut the door so far. This is technically not an ACC game, even though it's two ACC teams and on the ACC network. It is a non-conference affair between these two teams. Duke had exam week, so did North Carolina, so this is their one game for the weekend, and the fourth pitcher for Duke is Jack Hedrick. The sophomore from Charlotte takes over.
Hedrick, the 6'5" right-hander on the mound, 8.33 ERA, and just like every other Duke Blue Devil pitcher, has more pitches than the catcher has fingers to put down to be able to call those pitches.
Well, it's a good thing they don't need fingers anymore for it, right?
It's a good thing. I don't even know if they have enough toggles to be able to say the amount of pitches that he has. But it's a lot. It's a sinker, cutter, changeup, slider, fastball, does have a sweeper. You can go on and on. He's a ground ball pitcher, though. About 56% of the balls put in play are going to be put on the ground because of that sinker that's 89 to 93 miles an hour.
I like the idea of the pitch mix being so deep that the catcher needs to hit like shift before they push the number 2, right?
Yes. Alt 2. This is a kick change. Boop, gotcha.
What a 2 the count to Eric Paulson, the first baseman. He has a single and a walk and 2 runs scored as he just does get a piece to stay alive. Big shift on for the left-handed hitter as he waits. And the 1-2. Count evens at 2-2. Starting to warm up a little bit here this afternoon. Either that or I'm having a hot flash.
I don't know how you can have a hot flash. This is nice weather.
Towards the middle, Lambden will toss to first, 1 out. But he never underestimate my ability to have a hot flash. Cooper Nicholson will bat. He's over 2. He is the only member of the North Carolina lineup that has not reached safely yet today. First pitch fouled away. 0-1. Nicholson, Iowa native, played at Iowa Central Community College. Prepped at Dowling High School in Des Moines, which is the biggest sports power in the state of Iowa. I know that there are probably some people at Cedar Rapids Xavier that are unhappy that I said that, but it's the truth. Des Moines a little bigger than Cedar Rapids. Nicholson, did he go? He did. Yeah. That appeal clearly went around. The count 1-2. He was a 2-time junior college All-American and was a player of the year in the Iowa Community College Athletic Conference as a freshman. And many people are familiar with Iowa junior college ball, but it is a really, really good state for junior college baseball. Iowa Central, Iowa Western, DMAC, the Des Moines Area Community College. There are a lot of Division I players that come out of that. It is outstanding junior college baseball and fun high school baseball. They actually play their high school baseball in the summer. You can play 4 sports in the state of Iowa, varsity. That one crushed up the alley in left center field. Albright on the run, and it's off the top of the fence. Nicholson to second with a 1-out double in the Carolina 4th.
Oh, he did not miss a home run by much. 105 miles an hour, gets the hanging cutter to the top of the zone, stays on it, drives it off the tippy top of that left center field wall. for a double. And what were you saying? He was the only one that didn't reach base? Well, now everybody's reached base.
It's only a matter of time for Nicholson today. Making Winslow a pair of hits, and including a 2-run homer. He's knocked in 4. And the DH takes low. It's 1-0. Winslow, who took over the starting job at Duke behind the plate last year, former perfect game All-American. Spin move to second, and Nicholson back safely. I'd say ordinarily up 9-0, you're not expecting somebody to run, but that 10th run pretty important to ensure an early termination victory. Another pickoff move, keeping him close.
Working on some things. Working on your pickoff plays. I don't mind it.
The 1-0. Outside, the count 2-0. Boy, Carolina has had some good catchers over the last 20 years, and Winslow, who's the DH today, is kind of the next in line in that group. They needed somebody to replace Luke Stevenson, and I don't know that you could ever really replace Luke Stevenson, who, by the way, is off to a great start in pro ball for the Mariners.
I mean, we knew he was going to.
But there were so many scouts that were afraid of him in the draft last year, and I never fully understood it. I mean, I get that college ball is different than pro ball, and that guy hit lefties better than he hit righties. As a left-handed power hitter, Scott Forbes loved him.
It just everything that he was able to do. There was power there, not much swing and miss. He would stay on hitter the pitches.
Winslow up the alley in left center field. It'll go all the way to the wall. Nicholson will score. It's a 5 RBI day for Macon Winslow and a 10-0 North Carolina lead. Well, that was very Luke Stevenson-ish.
That was very Luke Stevenson, and that's a career-high 5 RBIs on the day. And he has not hit one ball soft all day long. These balls are absolutely flying off of his bat. 110 miles an hour off the bat on this stand-up double.
Triple shy of the cycle.
That's the fun one I always try to get. It's the one you want to get out early.
Mutual friend who every time that phrase gets uttered rolls their eyes. It's like, oh, gosh.
Usually, I would always really get it when that triple has already been captured.
Then you've got the real chance, right? Needing the triple is
the hardest one. That's the hardest. The home run is not. The triple is the hardest because it has to be in a certain area, certain spot, and for certain individuals who can run.
How many triples did you have in your career?
I did. Well, I did have one cycle when I was at UM.
Bouncer foul behind first.
Against Pace University.
Pace. Nice. You had 4 triples in your big league career, including 3 as a rookie.
Well, yeah, because I smartened up and decided you can't lead the league in doubles hitting triples, so just stop at second. Who am I? I'm not a burner. Cadillac into second, nice and easy. Take it off, give your gestures, and good to go.
So that's why he was an all-star, folks, is because he knew when to shut it down.
I'm not trying to go crazy here. I smartened up as the years went on.
I would ask you if you remembered anything about your 4 career big league triples, but I'm assuming you were too winded at any spot.
I had coaches saying, just stop at second, please. What are you doing? You're going to hurt yourself trying to go to third.
Listen, we went back through your perfect game high school report yesterday when we had some downtime, and what did it say? Not fast, but not a base clogger.
Not a base clogger. I knew how to run the bases.
2-2.
It's the angles. You got to get the angle right.
I I do want to point out, too, 12 for 13 in stolen base attempts in your big league career. So very efficient base stealer.
See?
Tim Raines wishes he had that percentage. That's a foul.
And those were not double steals, so I want to put that out there. That was just jump stealing and tricking pitchers. Well, you want to go 2 seconds on your holds and go home? Yeah, watch what I do.
10-0 North Carolina in the fourth. The pitch. Out on strikes, 2 outs. That'll be up to Colin Hynek. He's walked and grounded out. Hynek is one of 2 members of the lineup that does not have a base hit yet today. He and the leadoff man, Jake Schaffner. And draw a bases loaded walk in the 6-run first inning. It's been all North Carolina today. Pitch, a strike. Take that back. He's the only one that hasn't had a hit today. Schaffner had a leadoff single on the first pitch of the ball game. It's a point I will learn how to put together good handwriting here, Gabby. That's Hynek skies one into shallow left center. Coming in is DeMartini, and he will make the catch. He dropped it. He dropped it. A run's going to come home to score, and it's an error on DeMartini as it popped in and out of his glove.
There's a high sky here, and that ball was hit extremely high, and it looked like DeMartini had everything under it. Everything looked correct. Put the glove up, and I feel like it just hit the heel of his glove, didn't close it. I was trying to think, did he take his eyes off the ball? And he did. Last second, you could see his eyes start to drop. He didn't watch that ball go directly into his glove. Because of that mistake, North Carolina is able to score another run.
So it's 11-0, and now French rolls to second, and Anderson will throw him out to end the inning. So the miscue leads to another run. It's been all Carolina today. We'll talk to their head coach, Scott Forbes, next. It's 11-0. 11-0 North Carolina as we head to the top of the fifth. We're joined now by their head coach, Scott Forbes. And Scott, I think one of the things we're excited about is we're going to get a chance to see a lot of your really good arms today. What is it that you guys have done to help continue to develop high-quality starting pitching?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with our pitching coach, Brian Gaines. He's the best in the business, in my opinion. And then, obviously, Coach Howell, who they work together. So essentially we have 2 pitching coaches. Coach Howell was the pitching coach at Wilmington, pitching coach and recruiting coordinator at Georgia Tech. He worked here 06 and 07. So, man, those guys, they do a lot of things people don't see, and with all the new technology, they just balance each other really well, bounce a bunch of ideas off each other. And then the players, I mean, they put in the work, so you got to give them the credit.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Best of luck today. We'll see you soon.
All right, man. Thank you.
Scott Forbes, the head coach at North Carolina. I think it is fascinating, his background. You know, at one point, I believe he had the Division III record for doubles in a single season when he was at Carolina Wesleyan as a player his senior year. But he made his name and the Division I coach as a pitching coach. And I always think that that's fascinating. Because when you think about Carolina, you think about in the Mike Fox era, Scott Forbes is the pitching coach of that, and he really is an offensive guy. And we got to nerd out with him for a while today on lineup construction, which was really fun.
Just the thought process of what goes into the lineup construction, and not only that, his mindset of like, if I move this guy here, then I can put this guy here, and then I have these two guys in the top of the lineup that can run, but I don't want to do this here. So like, it was really fun getting to the bottom line of what the thought process is going in against certain pitchers.
11-0 Carolina, 3 strikeouts already for Ryan Lynch. Now, as many Carolina games as we've done, and I've done this year, I've done a couple more than you have. This is the first time that I've had a chance to see Ryan Lynch this season, and after a terrific freshman campaign, the way he's throwing today, it looks like he's taking things to another level. I know the ERA is maybe a little higher than you would expect, but this guy's stuff is maybe outside of Caden Glauber the best they have on the staff.
It's 95, 96. It's that kind of lower side slot. That ball is going to run into righties, wait to lefties, and it's coming in like a bowling ball. Like it's not a light pitch.
Popped up into center. Oh, looked like he had trouble locating it. He makes the catch for number 2. It is very, very bright, as Michael DiMartini learned. Two outs, nobody on for Tyler Albright. But this 1-2 punch of DeCaro and Ryan Lynch is as good a one as you'll find in the country. I think there are some other stats that get attention because they're a little bit more left-handed at the top. But these two guys, I mean, DeCaro is more the pitchability guy, although his fastball the last 3 outings has been aggressive.
I mean, 94, 95 miles an hour from DeCaro. And when you start to look at these two guys, like, you go to a super regional, that's a tough 1-2 punch that you're going to have to face, whatever team is going up against them.
And really, from an arm talent standpoint, Caden Glauber is probably the best guy that they have. And, you know, we've had this conversation multiple times this year with Scott Forbes about how he views him as a future Friday guy. And maybe he'll pitch in the rotation. Maybe he'll pitch in the bullpen on a weekend. It just kind of depends on what they need to lock down games. But he has comped him to Trent Thornton, who was one of the real keys on the 2013 Omaha team. Thornton pitched in the big leagues. He had just nasty stuff, but he could go long. And there's Glauber, who is just a freshman. But, man, he is impressive. But Thornton could go long. He could start. He had all sorts of options available to him. A 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Lynch. 12 pitches for the right-hander through 4.5. It's all North Carolina, 11-0. look at the scores around the ACC today. Notre Dame pounding Stanford. Clemson with a home series win over Boston College. That has to be a big sigh of relief for Eric Backage's group. BC loses on the road there. Florida State with a 2-run lead on Pitt in the top of the 8th, looking for the sweep. Coming up in about 10 minutes, Virginia Tech and Cal. Virginia Tech trying to sweep that road series. Like News Golden Bears. That's the action for today. As the new pitcher, Drew Bryan, takes over for Duke. Drew Bryan, transfer from Division III University of Chicago. He has got an incredible backstory, other than the fact that he's raised the flag for Old Chicago. In 2021, he was the Division III Rookie of the Year, according to D3Baseball.com, pitching for the Maroons. His ERA that season, 0.
That's good.
46 strikeouts.
So he didn't have one.
No, he did not. This is for a full season. 46 strikeouts. His hits per 9, 2.79. Is that good? That seems good.
That's not 0.
It's not 0, but it's maybe the lowest I ever remember seeing.
I've never seen something like that.
So Bryan has this incredible year. 22 is there, is good. 23 is there. 2024, he transferred to ECU, and he got hurt. And so he was going to be a Division I player, got hurt. In 2025, as he hits the leadoff man Shafter to start the 5th, he went back to University of Chicago last year, and Bryan led the Maroons to their first ever Division III College World Series appearance. I think it is really a cool story, and finally getting a chance to pitch Division I this season.
He's got good stuff, too. It's a good fastball, cutter, change. He has a curve on a slider. That fastball, almost like a little bit of a sinker, 90 to 93. So he's definitely got the stuff to pitch in Division I. 0 ERA is incredible.
Isn't that awesome?
That's cool.
But like
what was your ERA? I didn't have one. That's safe. But what do you mean?
My guess is his GPA at University of Chicago was probably a little bit higher. When Hall sends that one up the alley in left center, and Albright will track it down for out number 1. Shafter went back to tag at first, but just bluffed going. That's a first out of the 5th. I'll bring up Gavin Gallagher, a young kid that's doing the PA announcements this half inning. Excellent diction on the child announcer.
It was good. You had that too.
Did you think I was looking for a compliment by bringing that up? Don't worry.
Yes, you do.
You pronounce words well, too.
I was just trying to help you out. You seemed like you needed some compliments, so I'm here for you.
I was feeling a little down, but I appreciate that. That's nice of you. 2-0 the count to Gallagher. It's 11-0 in the 5th. Gallagher 1 for 3 today. He's not due to run. Anyway, and he fouls it off to the right and out of play. 2-1. Still kind of waiting for Gavin Gallagher to get going. I know he's got the reputation of being the big game player. He certainly has earned that. But they could use a little bit more production from him in the middle of the lineup. I mean, it's been a good offense. We talked about it, and you've been very complimentary of Carolina's offense today, but they could use Gallagher to pick it up a bit. Hamilton, nice play, circling towards the line to make that catch for out number 2.
Well, that's the thing, too, when you see this UNC lineup, they're doing what they're doing without like a Gavin Galler or having his type of season that he could have. So once he does get hot, like where does this lineup go, right? It's only going to get even better.
2 outs for Eric Paulson. Paulson's been on base twice, scored twice today. First pitch, and he fouls it into the first base dugout. It's 0-1. The 0-1. It's down and in. Count evens at 1-1 from Drew Bryan. The grad transfer senior comes set, and the pitch. Bouncer to first, gloved by Marsh. He will take it to the bag, and the first scoreless inning for Duke pitching by Drew Bryan today. We head to the 6th. It's 11-0 North Carolina. Wednesday morning, it's the beginning of the ACC Softball Championship. This year, University of Virginia, the grounds will have all 4 first-round games starting at 11 Eastern, 1:35 at 7:30. It'll all be here on ACC Network and the ESPN app with the all-ACC crew providing post-game shows after each game on the road to Bricktown in Oklahoma City. It is 11-0 North Carolina here. Jake Lambden, who's been on base twice today, rolls the first one foul. It's 0-1. It'll be Lambden, R.J. Hamilton, and Caden Smith for Duke in the 6th. Perfect day weather-wise. Maybe not a perfect day for Duke baseball-wise, as these two play a unique one-off non-conference affair after a series last week. It's 66 degrees. Wind gusting to 17. Lambden takes outside. It's 1-2. So you want to time up your bats with the wind gusts, right? That's the...
You absolutely do. Want to wait until you get up there and that wind's gusting out.
Popped up into right. There's Carter French, who will make the catch. And the leadoff man gone in the Duke 6th. Bring up R.J. Hamilton. So I was going back through some notes the other day, Gabby, about ahead of this year's draft. It's the 2022 summer, and a lot of the high school players. And R.J. Hamilton was a part of that Team USA 18U. He's a Hoover, Alabama native. Hoover, of course, is the home of the SEC baseball tournament. And I was looking at some of the names just to remind myself, who was on that national team and who was in the training camp with him. And it is some of the best prospects and young players in baseball. It is really incredible. Some of the guys that he beat out to be on that team include Ryder Helfrich, who'll be a first-rounder this year from Arkansas. Walker Jenkins, who's the top prospect in the Twins organization. Justin Legurnick was in that training camp, the Clemson reliever. Noble Meyer was on that. Thomas White, they were first-round draft picks by the Marlins in 2023. And then there are guys that he played with that year, which include Kevin McGonigal, who's been the best rookie this year so far for Detroit. Max Clark, who's another one of their top prospects. It is an absolutely loaded 2022 team. And R.J. Hamilton beat out guys like Zion Rose to be on it. I mean, he was a really highly regarded high school prospect when he went to Vanderbilt. 2-2. They're fouling out of play. I love going back and looking at those rep groups just to see what it's like.
And you hear the names of the guys on that team, and you're like, did they ever lose? Because, I mean, the absolute talent on that team.
Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Hamilton down on strikes. 4 strikeouts for Ryan Lynch. 2 outs in the 6th.
I mean, the movement on this pitch, it's the sinker, where it starts to where it finishes, the downward action, getting on top of it. Oh, and by the way, it's 96 miles an hour. I mean, just an absolute riches of starting pitching for UNC.
We saw Lynch do it out of the pen for most of last season, and then right at the end of the year, I think it was in the Florida State Series, we were there for it, that he moved into the rotation, and it just is such dominant stuff. The 0-1, foul back, it's 0-2. And that's not even, I don't even know that that's really a sinker that he throws so much as it's just a four-seamer that has a ton of arm side movement.
It's the way that he's releasing the ball is creating that angle and creating that deception that's moving the ball down. So he might not even be holding a sinker grip, but that's what the ball is doing.
On the ground to third, and it eats up Nicholson. It'll get into the left field corner. Caden Smith rumbling to second. He's aboard there. Should be a double. It looked like it almost took a funny hop on Nicholson, who was in good position.
It looked like the ball bounced the opposite way than it was supposed to. It's a slider that got hit, and it just popped up on him is what it was. It might have hit a divot right in front of him, but you could see where he was angling. That ball was supposed to stay down, hits one of the shoe divots right at third base line, and shot straight up on him.
So man at second with 2 outs for Matthew Strand. And fouls the first pitch back. It's 0-1. Strand is the first player that committed to Duke this summer in the transfer portal. He was the 3rd catcher to open the year. But the injuries have forced him into the starting lineup every day. He's had a terrific offensive season with an OPS over 1,000. Count 1-1. They did give him a double on that play. Here's the 1-1 from Lynch. Lynch, number 50 on the afternoon, is cut on and missed. It's 1-2.
Those are the type of balls that if the official scorer gives it in there, you go, okay, let's go down there. And let me hit a ball with divots in front of you and a ball flying at your face when it's supposed to stay down. And then you tell me that's an ordinary play.
Popped up, fouling out of play. You have not been in agreement with the official score very often.
There's been some that I'm like, I don't say. I'm a hitter, so I'm going to kind of be on the hitter's side on more than the defender side, but there's been some where I'm like, that is an absolute hit, and they're giving it an air. I'm like, that's no way.
The 1-2. That one shot foul off his foot. Well, fortunately, no one here has run afoul of you today when it comes to scoring this game.
That one was
I know
close.
You were quiet for a minute. You were waiting to see what was going to happen.
I was waiting, and then they gave it a hit, and I nodded my head saying that's the right call.
There may be some places that we have visited this season where
there's been a couple places.
It takes a lot to get Gabby upset, but generally it's an official score ruling. Swing and a miss. Straightened out on strikes. 5 strikeouts and 3 scoreless innings for Ryan Lynch. It's all Carolina. They're up 11-0. Megan Winslow has been smashing baseballs today.
You can't hit it much harder than 109, right? Home run to center field, 2-run homer. You can hit a double at 110 miles an hour his very next at bat. I mean, absolutely just smashing baseballs today.
Winslow 3 for 3. He's knocked in a career high 5 against his former teammates at Duke. So there's only a couple of them that are actually his former teammates. Duke transfer having a great day, a career day today. And a new pitcher for Duke, Jack Fury, the sophomore, who is a former top prep player at Gonzaga Prep in D.C. He did not make an appearance last year for Duke. One of the few returnees. Good results despite a high walk total so far this season.
Yeah, you look at the ERA, it's a 1.13 for the southpaw in 8 innings of work. Does have 6 strikeouts, but again, big one that you're looking at the free passes. A lot of curveballs.
Yeah, I want to say hi to you.
First pitch is a strike to Cooper Nicholson. That'll be Nicholson, then Winslow and Tyler Howe against the lefty. Check swing. He went around in the count 0-2. UNC took the conference series last week from Duke. They are trying to keep padding a resume that has them likely not just as a top 8 national seed, but they could be one of the top 4. They're ranked 2nd in the country, but Scott Forbes' team, the metrics have them behind Georgia Tech, and I realize they're the only team that's beaten Tech on a weekend this season, but the resume for Georgia Tech might be a little bit more robust. Ooh, that did not sound good to Nicholson. Ooh. Right. On the, is it the ankle that it got him?
I thought it got him on the outside of the knee.
It's got to be the knee. Yeah. It's got Scott Forbes checking out his third baseman. Now let's get a look at what happened.
Oh, you're right. That's
Right
just
on
a
the knee.
pulled, yeah, just a pulled fastball. He tried to get to the inside part of the plate. Oh, just catches him right on the outside, and he dropped quickly. He is up now, taking off his gloves. This is going to be the tell here if he's able to at least take a jog over to first. I think Forbes is looking at this, maybe talking to him, saying, look, and we can take you out at this point. But no, there he goes. He's off and running.
Iowa tough. So Nicholson aboard to start the inning. Carolina's had at least one base runner in every inning. They've had the leadoff man aboard 5 of the 6 frames offensively. And here's Winslow, who's already knocked in 5 today. First pitch on the ground to the hole at short. Sliding stop. Lambden throws him out. What a play by Jake Lambden for out number 1. Holy cow, is that great.
That's a cool play right there by Jake Lambden at shortstop. My goodness. Gotta love this style of baseball. Going out, sliding, getting up quickly. How about the strong arm and the throw over to Marsh at first?
I mean, that throw was perfect. That's 2 sensational defensive plays that Jake Lambden has made today.
And how quick he was able to get up and make an accurate throw to first. A lot of times you'll see a shortstop do that. All of a sudden, that ball is going to sail out of the first baseman's vicinity where he's not able to make it. Well, he threw that right on the money.
Freshman Jaden Nunez is going to pinch hit for Tyler Howe here. Nunez has been part of an outfield platoon with Carter French, one of the top players in the Miami area a season ago. Takes the ball low, the count 2-0. Nothing North Carolina as Nicholson at second. Pitch, the freshman pops it fouling out of play. The count 2-1. There's a lot to like with Nunez. That both he and Howe starting as freshmen in the corner outfield. And that's a big part of next year's North Carolina team. But they're getting good production out of this half of the platoon. Again, we talked about their issues with left-handed pitching. Takes a strike in the count 2-2.
Nunez as a freshman, 296 batting average. He has a home run under his belt, 8 RBIs. But again, right, you talk about their struggles against left-handed pitching. He's a guy that could step in and hopefully change that up.
Swing and a miss. Nunez down on strikes, 2 outs. That'll bring up Colin Heineck. Heineck walked, grounded out, and reached on an error. The catcher waits in the first offer. Off the plate, it's 0-1. Fury's 0-1. This is inside, and the count 1-1 to Heineck. North Carolina with 6 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth. Closing in on a victory this afternoon. Out of the way. And count 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Heineck. Pitch outside. It's 2-2. delivery in the air to center. DeMartini broke in, going back. It's over his head. It'll one hop against the fence. Bobbled by DeMartini. Heineck on his way to third. He's in there. An RBI for the catcher, and it's 12-0 North Carolina. DeMartini got a bad run, but that ball was pasted.
Yeah, that ball was hit extremely hard. And for DeMartini, a little bit of struggles right now at center field. This one, you're right, he kind of broke in on, and this ball was absolutely hammered. 101 miles an hour off the bat to straightaway center field. Heineck having himself some fun as he slides into third base for a triple.
And now a pinch hitter for Carter French. Rob Kellis, the fifth bats. Swings and misses the first offering. It's 0-1. Kellis had a lot of early season plate appearances. They tried to figure out the corner outfield situation. He was a contributor last year too. Transfer from Florence Darlington Tech. He is currently doing an internship as a groundskeeper here at UNC. If we get a future, who is that? Like Kevin Kiermaier's brother, right? The former big leaguer's brother is one of the groundskeepers, a head groundskeeper at Wrigley Field. Maybe Ron Kellis V will end up running a major league facility or a major college one.
When I played on the Cape, my job was to be the grounds crew guy. We would have to mow the lawn, do the lines before every single home game.
Really?
Yeah. Got paid $50.
You didn't have the management position where you would delegate it to other guys?
Nope. It was me and my roommate. He had the job. I came in, and we both. I would cut the grass, and he was a pitcher, so all he did was just do the mound.
Liner into center field for Kellis. It finds the grass. A base hit. It's 13-0. No word on whether or not that particular patch is well manicured by Kellis, but turn the lineup over for Jake Shafter. I didn't realize that you'd worked the grounds crew in the Cape. Do you find mowing the lawn or mowing a baseball field cathartic?
No, I just got paid $50 to do it, so I was like, I guess I have to at this point.
I miss mowing the lawn. Up and in. I mean, I suppose I could do it, but living in Phoenix, it probably feels safer to pay somebody else to do it. I'm not proud that I said that, but it's the truth.
And we didn't have a little car either to do the dirt, so I had to do it by hand. So that was always fun.
You didn't like borrow somebody's four-wheel or put some chain link fence on the back to drag it around?
It was grab that bad boy and here we go. Start walking in circles.
Did you at least have like a plumb line you could use to make sure the first base line was straight, or did it just kind of depend on how the night before the Cape was?
We did have a line.
Liner into center field. Oh, snag by Lambden. Three great defensive plays from the Duke shortstop today. That may have been the finest one. What a play by Jake Lambden, showing off the leather. It's 13-0 Carolina going to the seventh.
real fun. Just getting started.
Run straight for the breakaway.
The celebration is on.
Getting closer and closer to Omaha and the Men's College World Series. North Carolina trying to get back there. 12 College World Series appearances, still searching for their first championship. If they do it this year, this guy will likely play a huge role. The freshman Caden Glauber actually leads this team in ERA. He has been sensational this year.
I mean, there is nothing that you have said other than you have to watch this guy pitch. It's exciting. The arm speed, fastball, slider, changeup, 93 to 96.
And slowed down to make sure that they're throwing the ball out of play. I thought maybe he had to look at the
Yeah, I was wondering
batter,
what was going on there.
Just a new ball, says Nathan Hamlet, our home plate umpire. Yeah, Caden Glauber, to me, I mean, just the quickness on the arm as Nicholson will throw out DeMartini to start the seventh it's different. And the only comparison that I could come up with is Walker Buehler. I guess I'd have one other, but Ryan Zefferjohn, who pitches for the Angels, had one of the fastest arms I'd ever seen from a high schooler when he was coming up in Kansas. It just looks different.
And it's where he's releasing the ball, the action that these balls have coming out of his hand. Right? He has a fastball, but that fastball is almost like a sinker. It's going to run into righties and right in hard to righties. And then it plays off that tunneling action with the slider that he's able to control that outside corner with.
Colin Anderson fouls it back in the count 1-1. I always wonder about this too, Gabby. A lot of guys who have the lower arm slot might have a little bit more hinge in them. He's pretty upright. His delivery. And does that, as a hitter, does that impact you at all? Because obviously, if he's not hinging, it's going to change where the release point is. It's not a little bit bent.
It's just the action of the ball coming out.
Look out!
Like 96 coming in at you. Being able, any pitcher who's able to control the inside part of a plate to any hitter is going to have success when you're able to get it in there, especially if you're throwing 96 miles an hour. And I think that's what's the biggest thing, is that he's able to control the inside part of the plate. So now as a hitter at 95, 96 miles an hour, I got to cheat to it, right? Because I'm not going to just be able to hit that pitch. So what does that do? It opens up that whole entire outside of the plate.
3-1 to Anderson, and the freshman hits it to short. Schaffner has it. He will throw to first. 2 up, 2 down in the seventh. It's 13-0 North Carolina as they close in on the victory today. Bobby Marsh will hit for Duke.
Now batting the first baseman, 16, Bobby Marsh.
Marsh today 0 for 2. A couple of strikeouts. Glauber's first pitch is low at 96.
You will see him, if he stays healthy, of course, offseason, everything, he will be the Friday night starter for UNC next season.
1-0 outside, it's 2-0.
And you talked about, too, where is he going to fit the rest of this season? He could be a third starter if you wanted him to, but he could be very valuable to be able to come in and throw in 2 games in the series. Right? If you're able to come in and maybe fill in 1 or 2 innings on one game and 1 or 2 innings on the other, you did throw 4 innings, but man, you were being able to be utilized in 2 big spots.
He enrolled at North Carolina a year early, skipping his senior year in high school. This should be his senior year, and he has already dominated ACC hitters as the North Carolina fans come to their feet. And Glauber tries to close this out. The pitch. Marsh takes to the dirt, and the count goes full.
You got to think, too, if he was pitching in high school right now, where would he be in the draft?
Really high up.
Really high on the draft.
Two-time All-State performer in South Carolina. Winds and delivers. Swing and a miss. He blows away Bobby Marsh. And that ends our ball game today. 13-0. North Carolina continues to roll as they knock off Duke in this one-off non-conference matchup. They go 3-1 this season against their cross-triangle rivals. This was a dominant performance today.
I mean, complete dominance, and there's nothing really you can do if you're Duke. You just had to go up against the top 3 pitchers that UNC has in DeCaro, Lynch, and Glauber, and they showed why they are so good on the mound. But not only that, you look at what they were able to do with the at-bats. Macon Winslow, my goodness, what a day for him. 5 RBIs, the most that he's had in his career. But you can go up and down this lineup. They are potent, and they can do some big things, and I would not be surprised if you're seeing this team in Omaha. Not only that, maybe even winning it.
North Carolina continues their charge as they beat Duke this afternoon 13-0. For Gabby Sanchez and our entire crew in Chapel Hill, I'm Mike Farron. Thank you for joining us on this glorious Sunday afternoon for ACC Baseball. UNC wins.